moving here. Okay, so I I don't know exactly how we're gonna title this one, but I do think there was a human that we overlooked for the Relic of Legends humans deck from the Spider-Man set. A lot of legendary humans. This is Druneth, Reviver of the Hive. I don't know what the Spider-Man name of this card is. It's a card that I forgot to put in the PowerPoint, but it was one we had talked about. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value equal to its power, copy that spell, except the copy isn't legendary, then put a counter on Druneth. So what's very cool about this card is it lets you go like copy a Guide of Souls, or sometimes just copy a Norin to get this up. And then like the same turn, you can copy a Basim, copy a Satoru, copy an Arbaaz, copy a Jirina. And then usually if you have a Haliya, or sometimes if you have Yera, like because these are 3 mana cards that are only 1 mana, you can copy them. You can copy them for 1. Although copying the Haliya with Warp, I guess, isn't all that good. But copying the Yera and getting like 2 of these in play, making spells, either 2 different spells cost 1 more, 1 spell cost 2 more, is really cool. And then you can also reset Druneth with Yera and then get it back in play and then kind of go back up the loop again. And I'll say that when I was testing this last night, having double Basim, double Satoru, double Arbaaz, or double Reki was really, really insane. It was really, really good. Jackal, okay, thank you. I did also, now I was worried about the number of 1 mana humans in this build. So I was worried about the number of 1 mana humans. So I tried a version that was playing Thalia's Lieutenant and Champion of the Parish, and was like kind of a non-combo version. And the idea is that like copying Champion and copying Lieutenant could be really good. Boy, oh boy, did I miss their combo, and boy, oh boy, did I not like Champion and Thalia's Lieutenant very much. So that was kind of disappointing. I was kind of more optimistic for that one. But this build did perform pretty well, so we're going to be playing it today. Now, I have made some changes overall. I think the biggest problem with this build is that we get flooded really, really often. We, despite having we have a ton of card draw, but sometimes when you have a ton of card draw and you just have a ton of mana sources in your deck, you get really flooded. Maybe it's not that complicated. But we had 29 mana sources in the deck because we were playing 17 lands and we were playing 4 Relic of Legends. So I've gone ahead and cut the 4th Relic. And I think with all the card draw in the deck, that's a pretty fine thing to do. And I've gone ahead and moved the island to the sideboard. So you're going to board this in against Field of Ruin decks that can Stone Rain you. But just having the nice, clean, all 16 5-color mana base has felt good. I do think you have to keep it the Mox Ambers. It's just so hard. You can't really play the Basim build without all 4 Mox Ambers. Also, Mox Amber is so good with Haliya. And we're also back up to the full 4 Haliya. I've been missing the 4th one. Yeah, copying Norin is useless, although you get triggers from like Guide of Souls, Haliya, Arbaaz, so it's not useless, but it mostly just lets you go 1 into 2. It just like lets you scale up. So I did like this deck also in testing last night. Hopefully it goes a bit better than the Jackal. Okay, so we have the turn 1 draw a card with Haliya start. So we're gonna go Courtyard, Haliya, Amber, Aether Vial on turn 1. On the draw against a Undercity Sewers. This is like my favorite turn 1 in Modern right now. It's so, I don't know, it's just so clean. I'll gain a life. I played against Boros with this deck last night, and I had like... They had like an active Flage, and I just had like 63 life and a gigantic board, and it just didn't matter. Okay, let's take the 2 for 1, I guess. A little bit bummed not to get the Aether Vial down, though. Oh, baby. So we might want to wait. We might want to wait until we can Vial in the Druneth to cast the Guide of Souls so we can get the copy. It's also possible that if this is Goryo's, we want to be able to Vial in Jirina as Graveyard Hate. So they are indulgencing here. They do discard the Atraxa. Do they have the Goryo's? Sad no Norin into Vial. Maybe you should have gone Norin. Sometimes you want to save the Norin, though. Alright, so we'll make them have the Ephemerate. I see a lot of people conceding to the Atraxa, but if they just brick on Ephemerate, yeah, like, look here, they're actually just getting, like, you know, they're getting 3 cards. They're going to drain me for 10, but we could gain a lot of life. They choose a Force, a Marsh Flats, and a Riddler. The Force is, I guess, actually not useless. But if they just also already had the Ephemerate in their hand, then We could lose. Sometimes you do that. Sometimes you do that. Okay. All right, so I've got some extra graveyard hate for this matchup today too. We've got the Sanctifiers coming in. We've got the Jirinas, so 6 total pieces of graveyard hate. Jirinas are actually great in this matchup because in addition to being sometimes instant speed graveyard hate, they also are anti-Wrathless guys, which is super nice. The Lavinias are also pretty nice in this matchup too. I have liked the Haliyas. I think I'm going to trim 1 Norin, 2nd Relic, 1 Yera. Just go a little bit lower in the combo trim an Arbaaz. Maybe we don't want to trim a Druneth if we're trimming a Norin. 4th Amber is okay. Oh, sorry, I meant to cut a Relic. Did I drag something I didn't mean to instead? I don't think I did. Okay, this looks pretty good. All right, let's go to game 2. Yeah, Lavinia turns off Solitude and Ephemerate Rebound. Was it better to play Vial Pass so we could get it down? No, it was better to go Haliya, Amber, Vial, or try to go for that turn 1. Like, even if your opponent has Solitude, I don't think that they're gonna Solitude the Haliya that often anyways. But, like, I don't think you should, like, live in fear of a Solitude because they went Delta Go. There's just no possible way that that's the right line. In general, I'm saying, yeah, it was always correct. It was always correct to go for this line here. Why not Amber before Haliya? Because we need to gain a life off the Amber so we can draw a card off the Haliya end of turn. Okay, on the play. So I want to keep this. I think I'm kind of supposed to hold the Guide of Souls to copy with Druneth. Runs on a mold to 6. Trying to think if that's the case. I think we have enough other 2-drops. I'll lead on the Guide of Souls. Does Lavinia keep the Ephemerate in exile? Does it counter go to the yard? I can't remember. I can never remember on Lavinia which part of the card counters and which part of the card says you can't cast. Lavinia is, I think, a really poorly designed card in the sense that the wording is not symmetrical on those two. It should both be can't cast or it should both be counter in my opinion. I'm just a big hater of the wording on this card, which I know is kind of a narrow thing. But I do think it's like one of the worst worded cards in Magic the Gathering. Like I think it should just be both counter and both can't cast. Like I would probably lean towards counter. It's like there's honestly like even like no real reason that it's like this that I could tell. Just so silly. All right, so no Fatal Push. They got a Shadowy Backstreets. Nothing wrong with taking the Backstreets after all. What's the worst worded card? Yeah, I'm not sure if any's like really coming to mind. I know that there's got to be some. I'd love to hear your take on the worst worded card ever. So they've got a Psychic Frog and a Passing of the Turn. Let's go for Jirina, draw a card. Oh, Chains. Yeah, Chains is a great pick. Okay, so we can go Amber Haliya and then draw a card off the Haliya end of turn. Might get Goriest. I guess we jump the Basim since it can't be blocked. If we jump the guy, they kind of have a possibility of a pretty good block here. I OFI'd with this league. This deck is significantly more complex than I realized. Yeah, it's pretty tough, but if you like it, I encourage you to give it maybe some more time. I have thought it's a pretty solid deck. They do have the Gorios. They are down to 14. So there's a pretty good chance they can't draw 14 here. Or so they can't draw 14, but I guess they could if they have Solitude. Although am I dead to the Frog? I think probably not because they're at 7, right? Because this is going to be 11 plus 7 when I'm at 24. +7 is 20. I'm at 24. They could. So we'll see if they have White Source plus Ephemerate. They can draw 7 more cards here, but if they probably won't want to do that if they don't have White Source Ephemerate already, because then they just lose. So they can maybe have like multiple Solitudes already. Animate Dead, Chains, Necromancy, I feel like are the most worded, confusing word cards. Yeah, maybe. Maybe Lavinia is like the worst worded of like modern card design. Wording cards is tough, you know, it's some easy mistakes to make too. Tazal's Web, I feel like that was not the worst, but it is not the most intuitive, I agree. Do we think this frog is actually psychic, or is it like David Blaine, the Street Musician Psychic? Great question. There is a psychic frog in Hades 2 that we could try to ask. Okay, I don't care as much about the guide living, right? Not very likely to get another jump off of it next turn, unless I drew like another guide to go like Druneth into guide. So they're also not ephemerating their Gristlebrand, which is good news. And they concede the game! Life gain! Undefeated, baby! 24 life? Good luck beating that turn 3 Gristlebrand Psychic Frog. Alright, I think actually, I forgot about this. I forgot that I just always prefer to have the 4th Amber over the 4th Vial. I'm going to do that, especially on the draw here this game. Might cut a, oh sorry, alright, not a Haliya. Maybe a Haliya. Alright, let's go. Undefeated as we lost game 1. We didn't gain enough life game 1. That was the problem. We didn't gain enough life. Because they solituded my Haliya. Okay, so we have no graveyard hate. We do have some mana and card draw. My opponent's kept 7 on the play. Let's go to Mulligan this on the draw with no Sanctifier. No hate at all. Although on 6 cards, we probably have to keep this one. Got some good top decks. Maybe they don't have turn 3 Gorios for the 3rd game in a row. It's a nice one. Dead Ringers. Destroy 2 target non-black creatures unless either one is a color the other isn't. That one's pretty bad. Alright, another turn 2 frog. Then they think. Then they pass. Okay. Guided Soul's the only way to buff Jackal. It just buffs itself. Yeah, buffing the Jackal and casting a 3 is kind of real, but you just go like copy a 1, copy a 2, copy a 3, pick it up, reset it. Again, totally fine if they solitude this. Seems like they might have a solitude with that, the think. Alright. Do they have another turn 3 Gorios for 3 for 3? Destroy 2 creatures that are the same exact color but not black. Yeah, could have been worded better, I think. They can't solitude. They could solitude in response to Lavinia. So they thought for a little bit in response to Lavinia, it seems. They do have a Wrath X equals 1, which does stink. Then the frog is gonna maybe bury me. If we could draw a land for the Relic, and then we can maybe pop off with Reki Norin, I'm gonna feel pretty good the following turn. I don't know. I don't know though. This is actually a better draw than it looks, because just having another legend in play the next turn does let me go Relic into Reki into Norin. If I had had this last turn, would I have played it to protect it around Wrath? Probably not, because I would probably have wanted to be able to vial this at instant speed. Main phase Mending means that their hand is very weak. They discard 2 Gorios Vengeances, so they almost definitely have a 3rd copy in their hand. The Jirina can also protect the Reki too, which could be kind of nice. Alright, so they got 6 cards in their hand. Very odd that they would do this before attacking. Since you usually don't want to Gorios with only 2 mana up. Maybe they've got a Prismatic Ending here. That would be not great. No, just a second frog. So, looking for a Mox Amber or a land. I guess they've said their hand's kind of weak. I guess we could actually even infinite combo next turn if we draw the land. So let's not concede just yet. We would have to draw another Yara, but we've got the Reki. Take 2 cards on me, free of charge. Yeah, I know about the redraw of Norin. Because I get to pick up the Norin and replay it again. Land! We got basically 18 lands to look at because of the Mox Ambers. They're going to hardcast the Solitude end of turn. Is it concession time? I guess yes, because we don't have enough creatures in play to go off anymore. I think let's just keep it moving. Very tough Wrath Disguise. Very tough Wrath Disguise on the Vial. I can't even read it correctly. I think we saved the Norin with hands like this. Let's keep the... Is there a world where the vials in this list are birthing rituals? No, I don't think so. Not castable vials, really, really good in this deck too. That spell's referencing the second spell that triggered the thing in the first place. I see. Not the best worded card. All right. What are they playing off of flagstones here? Guide of Souls? Also Pride? All right. Very cool. All right, so let's get Jirina down to protect Basim. Not the best worded, but worded better. I don't think you can if that's what you want to do. I do know that wording stuff is very tough. I've been learning that lesson a lot this year. But, you know, one thing is, okay, so in the game me and my friends are working on, sometimes if we just can't, if an effect we want is like really cool and really fun, but we just cannot get it to where it's an intuitive way, we like designate it for like later in the game where people are more familiar, or we just scrap it. So I feel like maybe just scrapping this was a good idea. But whenever you cast your second spell each turn, I exile when one or more cards are milled this way. Each opponent builds 2 cards. One or more cards of this. I feel like this could have just been card. I think this exile target enchantment, instant or sorcery. I think it could have been non-creature spell. Just like let it hit planeswalkers. That could have been a lot better. Just like give it a power level buff so it is more intuitive. Have it triggered differently. I don't know. Did I read that card when I consulted for Lord of the Rings? I don't remember. Probably. I don't really remember it looking like this. I did not suggest this wording for sure. Casting Planeswalkers is a flavor miss. I've always been more of a function over flavor guy, but you know, kind of subjective anyways. Have I tried Sorin? So yeah, I haven't tried Flipwalker Sorin. Honestly, we could maybe just do a league with Flipwalker Sorin too after this. So I wanted to try both last night. I wanted to try Jackal and Flipwalker Sorin. The problem is copying a Sorin sucks. I think I've come to the understanding that you don't want to play both. I liked Jackal a lot when I played it yesterday, but you just don't want to play both. So if they have Ephemerate, they're going to be able to get both of these anyways. So we'll just let this go for the target. Right, so they target the Jirina, I sack. Then they have the Ephemerate probably. Maybe it's just better to let them exile. I guess it is just better to let them exile because then I gain the extra 2 life, huh? Alright, kind of in fine shape despite my opponent kind of having the nuts again. A lot of that today. Has anybody tried Sorin in this build? I do think there's a good chance Sorin's pretty good. So they target the Solitude with the Ephemerate. Maybe they just want the energy, but they don't get to attack with the Solitude now. Alright, yeah, we have 8 1-drops for Jackal. It's a little low, but you have a lot of card advantage in the deck. When I was testing the deck last night, I didn't really feel like I was lacking enablers. There was one game where instead of having a 1-drop, I jumped a Jackal with a Guide of Souls, and I copied a Reki, and that was really good. How could they have got both if you sacked Jirina was on the Solitude stack with the rebound Ephemerate? Could key in to double your mana. Well, it only triggers off the Mox Opal, so I don't think that that's enough. Okay, so let's go. Cast a Haliya. Yeah, it's a Relic. Yeah, it doesn't work with Relic, right? Because it's that card is also, speaking of poorly worded cards or unintuitively worded cards, for some reason that doesn't work. Come on, buddy. So I've only gained 1 life this turn. I guess I can gain a second here. Gonna be a tough one. I've tried 1 sword and 2 sword. It's def very nice to draw occasionally, and it's much more flexible in your plan than Arbaaz or Basim. Okay, Basim is mandatory 4 of. I don't. Basim is kind of the best, one of the best cards in the deck. But drawing worse is worse than drawing multiple Arbaaz or Basim. I think I agree with that too. Taking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down to 9. Then we get to go Haliya into Guide or Guide into Haliya. It doesn't really matter. Then gain 2 more life off the Norin. So we're going to go up to 9. But I think we're likely pretty dead. They still have 2 spells in their hand too. Belly, Riddler, Shepherd. So Consign Domain's pretty common. Yeah, I know Consign Domain's common. It's just kind of tough that my opponent had Guide, Pride, Solitude, Ephemerate, and then the well-timed Consign, you know. This is just all lined up really well against me. Block. I guess they can't jump here. So we might be alive, but likely gonna have to go to game 2. Is it reasonable to assume something from Goryo's Beltran Energy may get the axe the next BNR? I don't know. Who fucking knows? It's reasonable to just not stress too much about what's going to happen in the next BNR. It is, I know, always so tempting to long for interesting things to happen in this format or what you want to have happen. But the reality is Wizards has like taken a very hands-off approach to the modern format. I think things are pretty good right now. They could definitely be better, but they're pretty good. And I think I just am not that interested in doing banless talk today. Right, 6, 9, plus 5. Kitty's Blessing. I do think assumptions are reasonable. Yeah, I think probably not, but it's like, yeah, we have a whole set, and until the next. Okay, main deck Sanctifier. They could jump something. Let's go to game 2. Against Quantum Energy, I want the Lavinias. Jirinas are worse. They should have like some Wraths, but not that many. I think we want 2 or 3. Let's do 3. Go down to Yera. Yeah, I think that Modern is in a good place at the moment. Oh, sorry, I need to bring in the island. Yeah, I think they're playing Gab's list. I think when they decided to move the BNR to be between the 2 RCs, they probably decided they weren't making changes to Modern. That would be like such a disappointing thing for that to be the case, because the last 1 or 2 BNRs, I think it's been the last 2. It might have just been the last 1, but they've gone in pre-BNR saying we are not going to make any changes to Modern. We're not going to do it. So, like, for them to also schedule this one with the idea that they're going to make no changes so far ahead of time is just like would be just a ridiculous mismanagement of of things, which is possible for that to be the case. But I would be pretty shocked if that was the attitude when like to just say we're not doing anything to Modern for like a full year, but without, you know, we're just not going to look at it. I don't know if it's me. I think Modern's the healthiest it's been in like 5 years. I think it's the healthiest it's been in about 1 year. I think it can be better, but it is not too bad at the moment. I agree. I really think like the pre Lord of the Rings post Image 2 era, for me, that was the best era in Modern's history. I'm just saying, like, their approach of we're not gonna even look at it, and we're making this decision months ahead of time is like, I think that's pretty ridiculous if that's their attitude, and it has been their attitude on some of the scheduled BNRs, you know. Spike lines for Pines for Grief Scam. So Grief Scam wasn't as big a problem pre Lord of the Rings. It also wasn't as big a problem pre Luris. Not that I'm advocating for Luris to come back, but it was just not as big a deal. Wasn't perfect, but I just feel like everything about that format, or most things, I loved about that format. I just loved. I sure do miss getting Grief Scam turn 1 out of 2-3 games by 3 to 5 rounds at RCQs. That again, that was not that was post Lord of the Rings for the most part. However, I will say, I don't know, there are worse things in this format, I think, than Grief Scam. The modern format was at its best when every player was just complaining about Ragavan every single game. Guess we're playing a Yera. Our draws have been not so good today, and our opponent's draws have been pretty good all day. They've got a Wrath Disguise in their hand. We're gonna name Sorcery. Our hand, our board is locking up their hand kind of well, but are we gonna have the pressure, or are they going to be able to unlock things with this Wrath Disguise? We'll see. I basically don't play Modern. I watch your streams because games are entertaining. From my understanding, what in current format are worse than Grief Scam? I think that the games against Energy, for me, I'm like so sick and so and they're so repetitive. I thought that the games against Grief Scam were more interesting than the games against Boros in general. Like, board states would be like really different most of the time because the games were lower resource. Grief Scam was like obviously the best thing to do on turn 1 in any given game. They didn't have it with like the biggest percentage of the time. I think that the current Titan lists are much worse than the older Titan lists were with like the Woodland loops. I think that now that Scapeshift plus 4 lands and an amulet effect is a deterministic kill, I think that's part of the things that have gotten worse about the format. Let's leave this on 2 for Satoru. Interesting. Now we've got Plaza of Heroes up. I think that a lot of the Eldrazi gameplay is really repetitive too. But also, the format I'm pining for is not the Grief Scam format. It's the pre-Lord of the Rings MH2 format. Which was my favorite environment. I think people have forgotten Furious Game was actually a way bigger problem. I disagree. That was the case. Like Grief Scam was the best thing to do turn 1. It was a problem for them but both was a problem, but it was the Fury stuff was less of a problem, I think, than people acted like. So they're gonna Wrath X equals 1. Oh no, they have the extra energy from the stupid Guide of Souls. Sorry, and then I forgot to use the Plaza of Heroes. I got stunned by the Wrath. Yeah, I should have Plaza of Heroes my Lavinia, then played the Yera. Okay, we're not playing great, not drawing great, opponent's drawing well. Let's do one more with this, and then there. Pretty tempting hand. Norin Satoru is really good. This feels very Roasting Glasses. I think honestly, y'all should just let me have a favorite modern format with peace and love. I think the real answer here. All right, points on a multi-5 on the play here. But also, like, I don't know how many ways I could say pre Lord of the Rings MH2 was my favorite, where Scamming Grief and Scamming Fury was very much not nearly as big a part of that format. But y'all don't want to hear me sometimes. You just want to dance. Okay, they bolt a 4, then we go Plains Guide of Souls. So I think we're gonna go Jirina and hopefully into Relic plus Basim plus Haliya. Maybe into Yera. Two cards in their hand. Bombardment would be bad, but besides that, doing pretty good. I haven't seen a lot of static prisons lately. Now they have no cards in their hand. Seems like I should probably just go Basim into Haliya so we can get some cards for our big relic turn next turn. Interesting. They are top decking. Okay, I guess they don't have a creature because they won't have enough energy. Otherwise, they give me back the static prison. Block here, take 4. Down to 10, they pass. So it seems like they just drew a land. Drawing Arbaaz is pretty good. Let's cast the Relic of Legends. So I have 3 mana right now, and each of these puts me down in mana. I could go cast Haliya into cast Relic, gain a total of 2. Kind of interesting to bounce the Basim. So I can go cast Haliya, gain a life, bounce the Basim, play Yera, gain a life, cast Aether Vial, gain a life, draw a card off the Haliya. We won't be able to we might be able to copy the Basim with the Druneth if we can find a 1-drop too. I think that's gonna be my play. So they don't have the, I guess they'll name enchantments because they can cast instants, but like a Fable would be, or Bloodmoon would be uncastable for them if I name enchantment. Draw a card, second card for Basim. Well, I can't also play another Basim. I'm a mana short. So they top deck Goblin Bombardment, which means they've got a free 2 damage coming from the voice tokens. My stuff has 3 toughness. Wait, I'm not dead, am I? This is 8 plus 4 is 12. So I go to 1, assuming I've counted correctly. I'm surprised it's 2025. You're still in Vial. It feels like its speed is nowhere near fast enough to compensate for all its flaws. I think I've played a lot of this deck so far. It looks like I did miscount. No, I didn't. I've played a lot of this deck so far. I think that it like Vial has certainly proved its worth in this shell. It's like one thing is like Satoru is an incredibly important part of this deck working, and like Satoru needs Aether Vial. It has been super good. I think you go Vial 2025 to some extent, and you know, I hear ya. Like, I know that Aether Vial hasn't been a card that's seen a lot of play in Modern for a long time, but this is partially just because these kind of decks lack the quality and card advantage, but a lot of the cards have been powered up a lot too. I would recommend giving it a chance. But we have played a lot of this archetype, and the Vials have been good. Okay, so we get to play our first Druneth / Jackal. Then we get to go copy a Guide of Souls. It's also in this deck you get to go Haliya, Mox Amber, Aether Vial. That's like one of your best turn 1s, if not just your best turn 1. So they might sack something to kill the Druneth here. Although we get the copy of the Guide of Souls anyways. So right now we have 3 mana left over. If they don't kill the Jackal, Druneth, whatever, then we get to copy the Basim, which is actually mana neutral. It's fun. Because the copy's not a legend. Is Shiko slash Tibble good enough for modern like it is Pioneer? No. Or, I don't know, it used to be, and I think it's been pretty power leveled out to like bring to light for Tybalt or whatever. Is Jackal replacing Reki? We still have a couple Rekis. We're playing more of a split, which is good, obviously, with all the legends. Although you still have to play 4 of some of these guys. Okay, so let's cast another one, gain 3 more life, draw 2 more cards. Sorry. Oh, right, this isn't legendary. Sorry, it's not mana neutral. No. Okay, although now this is infinite life. Pretty good. Oh, and we have the Arbaaz, it's just a win. We also get to make a copy of this, which is kind of fun. Oh no, so I kept the wrong one. Whatever, they're dead anyways. I guess they're not dead because they can kill the Arbaaz, but we gain infinite life. Can you cast Jackal and copy Jackal? We could have copied Jackal. Maybe that was better than copying the Basim. I don't think it was, since we won with this line. Opponent doesn't know they're dead. So let's start yielding to some triggers, I guess. You had to pick the untapped legendary. Are you talking about my Relic of Legends? The thing is, this Basim is not legendary. Because the copy that Jackal makes is not legendary, if that's what you're talking about. Picking up the Jackal and like copying other stuff has been kind of good too. Okay, up a game against Boros. I beat Boros last night also. I didn't have the Sanctifiers in my build last night. I ended up adding them because I feel like missing them was probably wrong. But the Jirinas are really, really nice because not only do they deal with Flage, they protect your stuff, and then also protect your stuff from Wrath. But yeah, I want to go down a Vial. I wanted to go down a Yera. I wanted to go down a Relic since we're bringing in these Lorans as 3 drops, which are really important to deal with the bombardments. And then I'm a little bit scared to cut the second Arbaaz because you can't combo kill, but... Oh, right, sorry, I forgot that I actually just board out the whole combo. Right. And I just leave it to 1 Arbaaz. I haven't actually found it too tough to just kind of go over the top of Boros, which is kind of weird to say. But especially with the Lorans to kill bombardments, like you just kind of end up going over the top. And then the Druneths help to go over the top plan because you get to like copy Guide of Souls, copy Basim, copy a Reki, pick up Druneth, and keep copying things as you're like looping through stuff. You kept the correct Jackal and stuff. Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay, we did keep the correct one. You're right. All right, we got mana. We got a lot of card draw on the deck. Let's keep. Okay, so the Aether Vial is good with Satoru. We can go Satoru, Vial, and Guide of Souls. My experience with humans recently, as long as they don't have turn 2, 3 unanswered bombardment, you go over the top. Yeah, and so like bringing in the Lorans has just been a nice tool. It died. We exposed it to removal. It was too slow all along. All right, well, let's go ahead and play Satoru anyways. Opponent has got 4 cards in their hand. Surveil an Elegant Parlor into the yard. Graveyarding a Blood Moon. Blood Moon is not as good against this deck as you would think because of the relics, the Aether Vial, and the Ambers, but obviously can get you. They flip a Jirina, which they can't quite cast. We draw a great card in Reki. Although we probably can't do too much with this. Maybe draw another Vial or something. I think I'm going to go ahead and cycle this Amber. Relic of Legends, 1 time, big money! Okay, your turn. Might get Blood Mooned. I guess that's maybe a reason to not cut the 3rd Relic on. Got green mana. Can't do a lot with it. I'm not gonna... Maybe I am gonna block. Yeah. So we're looking for an Aether Vial. We're looking for a are they gonna cast Druneth? They flipped a Druneth. They can cast it and they can copy like a Guide or a Pride later. They should cast it. Obviously, this stuff is good with the energy cards. All right, we're looking for a Relic of Legends mostly. Copy of Ragavan! Ah! Cool. Again, not that likely to draw a Relic here. Probably should just have 3 in post board. Let's fucking go, dude. Okay. So, I've got 2 normal people mana right now. What do I start with? I could start with the Loran to kill the Blood Moon, I guess, but I think I'm probably gonna go for Arbaaz instead. Then that turns on the Amber too. Okay, then let's go ahead and cast the Guide of Souls before the Norin. Although, sorry, that was just wrong because then the Norin would have come back and been done, giving me an extra trigger. All right, your turn. It's got a fade, a good top deck here. Their coolest draw is a Johnny, but we don't even really care that much about it in the Johnny. They're attacking. They're probably gonna jump a Ragavan. I am gonna make no blockers here, I believe. Yeah, opponent's cheating. They've got 2 Ragavans in play. I guess it would be really bad if they hit my second Loran. I'm down to 6 life. They hit an Aether Vial, and they hit a second Aether Vial? No, Basim. Dude, they can copy my Basim! I guess this is just good content because they're getting to show off the Jackal. Also, everyone gets to see the card in action here. Oh no, they drew 2 off the Aether Vial! Now they get to copy the Basim. Oh my gosh. They get to copy the Basim token. There's 3 Basims on my opponent's field. That was supposed to be me, opponent. That was supposed to be me. Supposed to be me. We go over the top of boards. Look, we do. They're stealing my deck. All right. I guess we're gonna cast Jirina next. Draw 2. Might win this turn. Not super likely to deal 20 though. So we're definitely gonna cast the Amber next. I'm pretty interested in like finding a Jackal, then using the Norin to like chain the Jackal up. Although I guess now that we have second Norin, that's probably the next thing to cycle. Just 0 mana, draw a card, drain for 1. Oh, it's drain for 2 because they're gonna come back and trigger the Arbaaz again. So let's go ahead and make a blue mana off the Norin, but I want to be tapping my mountains while I can. Well, I guess I might end up killing this. I'm back up to a pretty healthy life total. Let's cast the Lord again. I really want a top deck Jackal to be good. Though I guess I only have 2 in the deck on account of my mean opponent. We got to put it down to 14. We have 2 Norins coming down end of turn. I guess let's go ahead and play another Basim. One, two, three, four, 5 mana available. I can also jump the Arbaaz for extra damage. Let me cast this Loran, so Jackal is still alive top deck, I think. Another Guide of Souls. So this means I can double jump the Arbaaz to get in for 6 damage with the Arbaaz. Again, I also have I have like a million Norins coming in. Yeah, we go cast Norin. Another Jirina. Don't think I'm gonna quite have lethal. It's gonna be pretty close. I'm gonna have like 4 Norins coming back end of turn to deal 4 damage. I think, do I have Xaxes? I think I have Xaxes. Because I get to go cast this Aether Vial. Hey, Aether Vial hater, it deals a damage with Arbaaz in play. And then I put them down to 10, and then I double jump the Arbaaz. Oh, I guess I could jump the Guide and jump the Arbaaz for an extra damage in case I miscounted by 1. And then the 4 Norins come back to deal 4 more damage. Now, I will say, like, this was also my experience testing this matchup last night. But like you just can go over the top of Boros, which is an incredibly important thing to do if you're going to play this kind of deck, as it turns out. But this has started to become my experience with this deck as I've played it more, which is just super big deal. And then you're still kind of figuring out the sideboard plan. Yeah, I think we had 4 Norins coming back, but maybe it is only 3. They're at 3, so it should be fine. It's at least 3. Yeah, we probably want to keep the 3rd relic, like maybe want to keep 2nd Arbaaz. It's like it's kind of tough to know exactly how to sideboard. It is also possible that like I keep saying this, like I keep kind of winning like this without the actual loop-de-dupe, and I'm like, maybe you don't need the loop-de-dupe, but then like the spider card is pretty good, so maybe you do want to still play it, but maybe you could play less. I think you do want to cut the loop against Boros. I think cutting the loop against Boros is good because the card is really bad against them, and it's really just not more complicated than that to me. So we can go Haliya into Amber Guide to draw a card on turn 1. We could also try to save the Guide to copy with the Druneth. Aether Vial would be maybe a good draw. Time of Need, uncastable and unplayable. Even if it was like double colorless, I wouldn't play it in this deck. Why do you pick a basic island to sideboard? Any specific reason? Well, I want a basic land for Ghost Quarter matchups, and now that I have so many blue 2-drops, I want to be able to cast those more than I want to be able to play my white 1-drops on turn 1. All right, give me my card. On the draw against Tron, not a great place to be. I've found the Tron matchup to be kind of tough. All right, I can't cast the Haliya. A little flooded this game. I have liked going down to 16 lands and only 3 relics. -2 mana sources has felt pretty good. I am starting to wonder. I wonder maybe we could actually like swap the Reki Yera numbers. I don't know. Maybe go 3. Maybe like a 3-3 split. Reki has been really good. Okay, my opponent's gone turn 3 Ugin on the play. Let's go to game 2. Maybe do need to play more Lavinias for this matchup. I regretted not bringing in Loran's. I did lose to Tron last night with this deck, so I regretted like not having a Loran to dig for against Ensnaring Bridge. I think I likely could have won if I had it. So let's bring him in. Sorry, I thought I cut both Jirinas. Did I cut something else by accident? It looks like I did not. I think trimming a Relic against the Karn deck's fine. I'm gonna cut a Jackal too to play. Mulligan the one-lander, keep the two-lander. Although this is a really, really nice two-lander where I can go Guide into Jackal into maybe go Guide plus Basim on turn 3, copying both of them. Need a land or a Mox Opal though. Mox Amber, sorry. Put us on a multi-5 so far. This card is Jackal, the Druneth. Oh, I hate this stupid Omen Path stuff. So they multiply. They got a Tron land into map. It's possible that their hand was just so good that they were really thinking for a long time on what to play next. Hoping that's not the case. And I'm really hoping I get to go copy Guide, copy Basim next turn. Well, I get to go copy Guide, copy Basim. This might even be enough to beat an Ugin. We'll see. This is going to be 6 more energy, so I can jump 2 times. I think I want to jump all on the Guide of Souls. Oh, I can jump 3 times. Let's go all in on the Guide of Souls since we maybe want to copy a 3-drop with this next turn. Vexing Bauble. Cycle Vexing Bauble. That's great. Dude, Tron sucks. Just kidding. I mean, so much of Modern is just, does your opponent have it, you know? Alright, go to game 3. Gonna be much harder on the draw. That was cool, though. Very slow hand on the draw against Tron. I think we'll just mulligan. The bubble does hit Amber. Alright, both on a to 6. We have Lavinia, which is really nice. Alright, let's keep and let's put back. This is my only card advantage, although this kind of is card advantage. Copying Arbaaz does seem really good if I can draw a 1-drop. They're on a to 5. At least. to 5 with the Devourer of Destiny. So the Destiny is pretty good against my Lavinia. If they have Tron, they can just devour Lavinia. Boros and a Tron Resident Sleeper. I mean, this is this is what's tough about being me. I play a game where I go Jackal, I copy Guide of Souls, I copy Basim for the first time ever on stream, and the chat's like, oh, Boros and the Tron. I'm so bored. You know, what can I do? You can't do anything. All right. So I think maybe what we can do here is try to bait the Devourer on this, since we know that they have it. Obviously, them having turn 3 Tron 3 games in a row is going to be tough for our deck to beat. I think they meant we played versus Boros and Tron. That is what they meant, but this is the energy we have in the chat, despite me doing what I thought was an incredibly unique thing. You know, it's that is what happened, and that is what they're saying, is that they're bored. That's what we played against, but this just, I don't know how we get the energy up in here. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying. Go away for the Twitch Prime. Thank you. Welcome back. All right, 3 cards in their hand. Turning off some stuff with Lavinia. They do attack. They put me down to 14. Hoping to draw a 1-drop for Druneth so we can copy the Arbaaz. They have a Tezzeret. What happened in the last match? We just went over the top of Boros. All right, let's pack it in, I think. Turn 3 Tron on the play, very tough, especially when the Lavinia just doesn't stop their stuff. On this stage, anytime any person played any card, the crowd went nuts. Absolute pandemonium, an eruption of cheers and applause and laughter. I remember specifically the audience crackling up when a player said, "I cast Life from the Loam." Like just cracking up because they just said the words, "I cast Life from the Loam." I'll put back a relic. I think we'll keep this. Can go pretty well here with the vials, and then like I've got the draw with the Satoru. And so I'm just watching this crowd of people go. At any time any player plays any card, and I'm just like, dang, none of these people watch me. But if you ever see me on a stage, I'll better cheer whenever I play any card. Okay, they force pitch to Fairy. That's bad. All right, I'll buy Bolt to 5. Ripping apart my vials, huh? I get jealous. I don't have the commander reach. I don't know. I guess. I'm just saying that's not my audience. I like what I do. I like my audience. This is an audience where I do what I think is a really cool thing, and I still get Resident Sleeper emojis in the chat. Do I cast the Druneth? I think that they could pretty easily have a removal spell here, and so we may be able to draw a 1-drop and then go vial this in and cast and copy and get some value from this, even if they have a removal spell. I mean, if they got force into Graveyard Attracts and Degorios, they got it. Looks like not this time. Although very strong hand against our Mold of 5 here, of course. Although I guess how could anybody cheer for me when I don't even get to play anything this game? I'm going to leave the Vial on turn 2 for a top deck Satoru. Discard another Atraxa and a Gristlebrand. No Ephemerate. Come on, Satoru. Come on, Reki. Come on, Basim. Okay, so we're going to hold this. Holding is better if we draw Haliya, Satoru, Basim, Reki anyways. But it's also better if we draw any two, so like also Arbaaz, because we can go vial this in, copy this, copy that in response, or before a removal spell. I guess they could kill the Reki in response to the copy here. If I top deck Satoru, do I vial and Jackal? Probably. Let's see what we draw here. Nothing? Still pretty close to popping off. You know, I am starting to think, though, with this deck. Now, like last night I copied Reki with this card, and it was just so insane that I am starting to think that maybe going this direction, or are they hardcasting a hardcasting Riddler? Maybe going this direction, it's better to go down on the spiders and then go up on the Rekis. And then like you combo kill without the actual combo a lot, but like just you have one spider to pick things up. It would also cut out on the dark pool. Wait, they discarded a Goryo's Vengeance? They have Atraxa and Gristlebrand in the yard. There's no way that was even correct. Okay, let's tough Bolt to 5. Okay, so we're gonna bring in the Lavinias, we're gonna bring in the Sanctifiers, we're gonna bring in the Jirinas. I'm gonna cut one of the Yeras, I'm gonna cut one of the Arbaazes, one of the Norins, one of the Vials, one of the Haliyas probably. Maybe a Reki. Ari, the prior topic at MagicCon Chicago 2024, they had the commander stage next to the standard open, basically GP. Yeah, I was there too. I'm sure you're gonna comment about how loud it was. So it was sure something to have people screaming commander happenings into a mic at max volume with everyone cheering in response while trying to compete for Pro Tour invites. That they changed the setup for the next MagicCon Chicago PT is going into the basement. It's like I was also playing in that event. It was like it was actually the worst play experience I've ever had playing Magic. It was so loud, and it was like I had an opponent who like just could not focus at all because of how loud it was, and I think they absolutely lost the match because of the stage. They played so poorly, and it was so clear that it was because of how loud the stage was, and that, like, there's nothing I can do in that situation. Could have we gained a ton of life there? My opponent discarded Agoria's Vengeance, so I felt pretty dead there. I know I did declare life gain to be supreme. Not that supreme. Go to 5, I think. Yeah, this hand's way better. So let's go ahead and put back the Relic in the second land, which might look a little weird, but we have the turn 1 draw card with the Haliya that I think I want to maintain here. This year they made it worse because all competitive play is moved to the poorly lit basement. They take this line again. Opponent is definitely a habit kind of gamer. Although if I can take up the Vial to 2, Vial Tutorial draws a lot of cards on this ball to 5. They pitched an Atraxa. Yeah, just another double ball to 5 and pitch card into Thoughtseize. They have Wrath the Skies in their hand because they're thinking about taking Jirina, which is not great. Maybe it's also Agorio's hand. It's one of those two. I think it's like almost definitely Wrath. The way they graveyarded the Gorios, though. Okay, love to be wrong. There's a frog with a plains up. All right, let's draw some cards. Could maybe play the Jirina first for protection. However, being able to vial in the Jirina as instant speed graveyard hate can be relevant. Also, could be my only card off the Satoru next turn. So, could also cast it here to play around the Wrath the Skies. The thing is, I think if they had Wrath the Skies last turn, they would almost have definitely gotten Blooded Strand instead. So, hoping to be wrong. Maybe also what we could have done this turn was hold up the Jirina and hold up the Satoru to play around this. Since, like, we knew they thought so long on the Thoughtseize, it was actually kind of just likely they had this, huh? Yeah, so I guess I was a little bit too thirsty to draw cards, but we are dead here. I do want to keep playing this deck, but the more I play, the more I actually think that, especially with this card, Druneth, you do get to like go off and pop off without the spider people. So I think I'm really just gonna go down to 2 copies. I wonder if it's even right to just not play them. Like, I wonder if, like, Sorin is better in this spot. We've never tried Sorin. Non-combo version? Yeah, it's like... We haven't tested Sorin. It could be a time to test it. The problem